Coming up, we talk Pandora, the world of Avatar, making Time magazine's list of greatest places for 2018. A new giraffe makes its way onto the savannah at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park. We share our Disney Legend of the Month, and in the main segment, we break down our top Fastpass Plus tips and tricks. All that and more on this episode of WDW Opinion. Cue the music.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
This is the podcast where two friends, Connor
You are a child's plaything!
and Hank,
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
share their opinions, tips, and stories about anything and everything at Walt Disney World.
Trust me, what could go wrong?
Get ready, because this is WDW Opinion.
Or in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Hello and welcome to episode number 8 of WDW Opinion, the podcast where friends talk Disney. Visit WDWopinion.com to check out our blog posts on all things Disney and Universal, and follow us on social media at WDW Opinion to see what we're up to in between episodes. I am your host, Connor Brown, and I'm joined by my co-host and Disney partner in crime, Mr. Hank Molsky. Hank, how you doing this week?
Connor, I'm about to celebrate 1 year of marital bliss this weekend. Do I look happier?
What was the question?
Do I look happier?
Absolutely not.
Great. I got a lot of lines going across my forehead. No,
It's not like your wife listens to this podcast or anything.
smokers.
That's great. I was actually, you've been driven to smoke since your 1 year anniversary.
Don't smoke.
I was actually just thinking about that the other day, thinking about how a year ago almost I was making my way to Cincinnati.
Hey, good times, Cincinnati, Ohio.
It was. Can you believe it's been a year?
It does go by quick. Actually celebrated our engagement. We did not get engaged in Disney World, but joined up with you, Connor, down in beautiful Orlando in the month of April 2016.
You were coming down one day. The day before you were coming down, you proposed, and in a panic, I rushed to the Magic Kingdom the next morning before your flight arrived, and got you and your wife, Erin, who's been on the show before, some monogrammed Mickey ears from the Chapo.
There's a lot of tacky marital or engagement gear that you can get. Some's very cute. I'm sure we have plenty of listeners that there's different levels of it that you can enjoy, but Connor, you had an elegant touch to the gift that we very much enjoyed.
Thank you, Erin.
And I'm sure some people would look at that and be like, that is the tackiest damn thing I've ever seen.
But who cares? Marriage is tacky. Is that an unpopular opinion? Marriage is tacky?
No, that's pretty in right now.
Yeah.
Just like hating on pumpkin spice lattes. You know, those are bad.
Oh, that is so in. It's incredible how things fluctuate, you know?
Oh, it is so in to hate on pumpkin spice lattes.
Wait a second. I'm going to counter that with, it's so in to hate, period.
Yeah, it very much is.
You know what is the ciabatta bread of this year?
Hate.
Hating stuff. Hate this year's ciabatta.
There we go. That's what it is.
That's not an unpopular opinion. That is just the facts. But with all that said, let's get into the show. It's time for News to Opinion. This is our weekly segment where we each pick a Disney news story from the past week to discuss and share our thoughts and opinions on. My Disney news story of the week is that Time magazine names Pandora, the world of Avatar, one of the world's greatest places for 2018. This is directly from TimeMagazine.com, just as James Cameron's sci-fi epic Avatar marked a new level of technological innovation for movies, so too is Pandora, the world of Avatar, reinventing the modern theme park. Among its otherworldly attractions and animatronic character that's as lifelike as possible, they're referring to the shaman in Na'vi River Journey and a botanical garden that glows with neon after sunset. The park's flagship is Flight of Passage, a ride that combines 3D projections and virtual reality to create the illusion that guests are flying atop a living, breathing mountain banshee. The park says it's the highest rated attraction at Walt Disney World per guest surveys. Hank, did you by chance look at any other places that made this list?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to hip you to some knowledge.
Thank you.
Won't know any of them.
You could be making this whole thing up.
Oh, I mean, it's very interesting. I don't really understand what it means, the greatest places for 2018, because it's not like greatest places to visit, places you have to visit in 2018. It's just greatest places in 2018.
Okay.
So they have it broken down into a to visit category, a to stay category,
Interesting.
and then a to eat and drink category. And to visit Pandora, the world of Avatar, makes it. Other places include Tivoli Gardens, which is it's an amusement park in Denmark and was actually
Beautiful.
one of it's very beautiful. It was one of the inspirations for Disneyland. Walt Disney and his Imagineers at the time visited there many times to kind of get a look and feel of, what a clean amusement park could be. A lot of places in Abu Dhabi, which kind of makes sense, as in like the Louvre in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a Louvre there. Governor's Island in New York and Manhattan.
Yep.
A lot of words I can't really pronounce. One place is just called Thread. I don't know what that means. This place, ELB, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
And then there's 14 other letters. So,
Okay.
but
we trust
But
them.
then rounding out the list, which I thought was crazy, Warner Brothers World in Abu Dhabi.
Interesting.
Have you heard of this place?
Nope. I got to be
So it
completely
costs-
honest, yeah.
It's cost $1 billion.
Okay.
And it's in, UAE in Abu Dhabi. And it spreads across 38 acres.
Okay.
It's a little smaller than the gardens of Buckingham Palace, which is kind of a weird thing to compare to, but whatever. So it's designed to entertain all kinds of Warner Brothers fans. And they have 6 neighborhoods. So there's one for Gotham and Metropolis and Dynamic Gulch and Cartoon Junction, which have like Roadrunner and Looney Tunes. Mm-hmm. But the thing with these massive theme parks in Abu Dhabi, which they're starting to have a lot of, is it's so freaking hot there that they're all indoors.
Yeah.
This is a 38-acre indoor facility.
Boy, it's like it makes you think of the Truman Show. You got to be able to see that thing from space.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you think of greatest places you've ever been, and you've been to some pretty great places, does Pandora, the world of Avatar, make that list?
I mean, I've been to great places, but my great places list isn't extraordinarily long. It's definitely up there, Connor. I mean, it's cool. It is. It's not like a lot of other places that you can. For me, it's, and I do have a soft spot for Animal Kingdom, and the best part of Animal Kingdom, and the best part of my favorite, one of my favorite places on Earth, and being in Disney World. So if I had to pick, if I was picking like an area specific part of a park like that, that's so cohesively themed. Oh yeah, I mean Pandora is just, I love it. I love it.
Love it, love it, love it.
We've talked about this before. They tell that story so well, because like even when you're reading the description, they just all threads together, right? It's James Cameron's
perfect.
told this perfect story. You can do this, you can do this part of the story, this, done. Go visit.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I think of the places I visited in my life, it is. I mean, I always like to put places on
It's
the
new too. 2018.
the
Yeah.
the 2018, yeah, the smile factor.
Yep.
Like if you keep going to it and you keep smiling, or if you have that in your head, like every time I'm going to go there, I'm going to have a smile on my face, whether it's because I'm blown away, whether it's because of a place I love, then that means it's the greatest place to me. And apparently, according to Time, it's the greatest place in all of
Just
2018.
like Stitch's Great Escape.
No. No.
It's our punching bag. When they get rid of that thing, we're going to have no content left on this show. Not gonna have a joke.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think we'll have a little funeral for it.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Hate to see you go.
Yeah. In memoriam.
In memoriam. So, Hank, what's your news story of the week?
Oh, we're gonna go to the Disney Parks blog.
Oh my God!
And we're gonna.
Did you change it up on me?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh,
Welcome,
no.
Giraffe Calf, to Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom. That's the actual headline. I did not mess that up. Welcome, Giraffe Calf. Welcome, Giraffe Calf, to Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's like they use the imperative form of welcome in the headline, but it doesn't quite work. There's just like some missing participle. It's strange.
Giraffe calf. I like giraffe calf.
Yeah.
Is there a way to take half of your caffeinated coffee and mix it with half of your
by Scott
decaffeinated
Terrell,
coffee?
who is not a normal blog
Half-calf.
writer. I'll tell you that much.
No, he's not.
Okay. The next time you're on a safari at Disney's Animal Kingdom, be on the lookout for Isla, spelled Aella, Isla, a 2-month-old Maasai giraffe calf who just made her debut on the Kilimanjaro Safari's savannah. Guests and cast should be able to easily spot her as she is the youngest and smallest giraffe in the herd. Born on June 29th, Isla was more than 5 feet tall at birth. Up until now, she has been spending precious moments bonding and nursing with her mom, Lily, in a backstage habitat. But she's on the roll now, Connor, and she is out in the open. I think that I wanted to switch this up because I thought there's a lot of cool things about this. Is that not how often, it is a cool occurrence that, when there's a zoo baby or whatever that's just going to be like walking around out in the same exhibit that you are. Like, even when they had the hippo born and they named it and went through that whole thing at Animal Kingdom earlier this year, it was, it's down in the valley. And like even the ceremony, the car is just way up on the hill and they drop a banner to name it. But this thing is like, if you're out there on the safari, this new giraffe calf is going to be checking out the safaris, and you'll get a real cool look at this up close zoo baby, which I think is pretty cool.
It could be feet away from you.
Yeah, and totally want to check out this new machine and these strange humans on it taking pictures of them.
Oh, yeah. I think this is what separates, Disney from a lot of... People always like to compare Animal Kingdom to like a zoo.
Yes.
And I mean,
Connor,
America...
it's not a zoo.
Not the zoo.
I should... You know what? I realized that I said that on the last episode, and I didn't explain that. That was one of the original market. It was
it's too late. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Can't explain now.
Sorry, people that dropped off. It was one of the original marketing campaign or slogan for Animal Kingdom when they rolled out. It was not a zoo. It's supposed to be some like
not a zoo.
Some
not a zoo.
Afrikaans saying that they were like
Swahili.
Hey, yeah. Not the zoo.
It is not a zoo, and even in zoos across the country, they have animal births and stuff like that. But I mean, I just think it's different when they're putting it out onto a savannah. And
Yeah,
stuff
right.
Like that.
That's so cool.
It's not like, oh, it's on display now. No, it's like it's on the savannah now.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
and they always do it right.
The giraffes have got it made there. They've got it best. And the wildebeest. Anything that's on that savannah has got it absolutely made. They have a huge space to roam.
I wonder if I've never understood. I think certain giraffes are in certain areas. So like there's a savannah for the Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yes, those are definitely in a different area.
And then there's a savannah, in Africa at Animal Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if there's like a decision process between these guys are going to the savannah, or these
or
guys
like
are
if
going
they bring them over at a certain point, like every couple months they switch.
Never thought about that. I do wonder now that you mention it, when you think about those areas over at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, those are pretty big. You got to wonder if those might almost be even more space to roam than the savannah at Animal Kingdom.
It's a good question, but Disney also does a great job of hiding things.
Yeah.
So there could be so much more back there, like when it's time to go home for them or whatever.
Yep.
But I mean, it is massive. If you stand in Kandani Village, which is the
it's huge.
DVC only, and you look across, you can only see like one portion of Jumbo House, the main house at Animal Kingdom. You can't even see where, their Savannah lookout is.
Yeah, are those separated, or do you think that giraffes can get back and forth between Jumbo House and Kidani?
No, those aren't separated. You can see if you ever go to there and like look at a map, you can see that it almost makes like a big circle.
Well, you know what? Now I'm going to go ahead and say that's definitely bigger than the Savannah at.
For what you can see.
Yeah, for what we can see.
Probably.
For sure. Yeah.
Probably. Like square footage wise or whatever.
The strict space that the giraffes have access to at Animal Kingdom. Not the entire ride. The entire ride's huge.
Oh yeah. All of the animals at Animal Kingdom have it made. I'll go so far to say all of the animals at Disney have it made. Throw in the the horses that stay at the Circle D Ranch.
Oh yeah.
Fort Wilderness,
yeah.
That are then the show horses and stuff.
Yeah.
Show ponies. Well, there you go. A giraffe is born, and Pandora is named a great place for 2018. Now it's time for Disney Legend of the Month. This is the segment where we honor a Disney legend every month. Whether it be an Imagineer, an animator, director, actor, or executive, these legends exemplify the Walt Disney Company. With each segment, we'll honor a new legend and discuss their contributions and legacies, and the impact that has made on us, the Disney fans. Our goal here is to shed light on the incredible men and women who have helped build the Disney Company who aren't named Walt Disney. This month's Disney legend is animator and Imagineer X Atencio. X, which is short for Xavier, lived an incredible life. He unfortunately passed away last year, but I want to read a headline from Hank and I's favorite, Jim Hill, who's an entertainment journalist and Walt Disney Company expert. He wrote a title, I believe it was right after X Atencio passed away, and the name of the article is Remembering X Atencio and the Weird Career Path That Took Him from Assistant Animator to Disney Legend. And I think that perfectly sums up this guy's legacy.
Anytime you toss a war in the middle of your life, you're going to have some considerable shakeups.
I don't know if it's ignorant to always be amazed when all of a sudden you're reading someone's bio and you're like, yeah, they worked at Walt Disney for 5 years.
And went to war.
1941. He was 22. He landed his dream job for Walt Disney Studios, and he started working on animated masterpieces like Pinocchio and Fantasia. And then, all of a sudden, the United States plunged into World War II, and he had to go and fight for America. He was in the Army Air Corps, and he was actually promoted to, I believe, the rank of
Captain.
And
that's what I thought was interesting about this thing is if you read about X, he moved pretty quickly through the ranks in his time serving, and he moved pretty quickly through the ranks in Disney, and in the respect of Walt Disney's eyes himself. This guy was not just. I know the term weird career path, it kind of makes you think like, oh, he got lucky here and there. I'm not saying Marty Sklar was lucky, but, he got that job as the newspaper writer. But this X is different to me watching someone's career path because it was like his talent was so high that it was just like you weren't going to stop X because it was like, whoa, he's really good at this. Captain, boom. Whoa, he's really good at this. You get to do this.
And Walt Disney is a great analyzer of talent. He knows when someone is good, and he knows this person is going to be great at this job. Let's do it. Anytime he seemed to have an idea of a new thing, he'd be like, put X on it. X will figure it out. Yeah. And he always did.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing, Connor, and I think you know where I'm going with this, about X's career is when he got his hands on the music for the parks.
Which is crazy. So he started out as an assistant animator, and he was very good, a great animator. He went to war, and then he came back, and he still started working on animation and the big films and the short cartoons and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, Walt Disney had an idea that he wanted to start doing stop motion. And he said, who do I think will be good at this? X Atencio. X Atencio dove headfirst into it, developed some really interesting characters in stop animation, and really led the charge in that realm. But then Walt's big idea, Disneyland, he needed all of these people to start building sets and rides and things like that. He said, X, you're going to develop the script for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, which is cool because I love that in these like stories about X, whereas Disney himself able to go, we don't really have a great story here. Do you mind, telling a story for these rides?
And it's incredible because Walt trusted him so much.
Yeah.
X Atencio even was like,
hey, we're a movie company and we need help telling a story.
Yeah, he was like, I've written a couple storyboards here or there. I've drawn for storyboards here or there, but I've never written a script from start to end. And then one day he said, I came up with an idea for a song that they wanted to have. Walt wanted a song, so I said, well, what about this line? Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. And Walt said, that's great. Go write the song.
Can you believe that? Something like that iconic that you can just trace to a single person. How cool is that?
And it's also cool because he didn't stop there. He decided, well, maybe I can write another one. And Walt let him do that when he wrote Grim Grinning Ghosts, the theme song of The Haunted Mansion.
Not as iconic, but when you go to the park, it's unforgettable.
Well, I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's their ride. I think The Haunted Mansion is like, when it comes to classic rides, they have the most hardcore fans and things like that. So when you think of he wrote these lyrics, even though he was an animator first and foremost, and then on top of that, he wrote the scripts for every single one. People, I think, get lost in the idea that it's just a ride and stuff. No, those two rides tell a story from start to finish. And he wrote that. He wrote in the lines. He wrote the music for it.
Yep.
It was absolutely incredible.
And something we have to lament for a moment. Disney World is not blessed with the beauty and completion that is Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland. So if you're sitting there scratching your head at home going, hey, Connor, the story's not that great. It's kind of short. It is. I do love the ride in Disney World still, though. I don't feel like it's that big of a trade-off. But the ride in Disneyland is another level of spectacular. You get a handful more scenes, very cohesive story, especially in its early existence before it changed over the years to up its political correctness for some questionable things, and then also adding in characters from the new movies. These stories, the thing you have to remember is these 50-year-old rides sometimes, they're not exactly as X would have written them back in the day. They told a lot more cohesive journey.
And since you brought up the changes to Pirates of the Caribbean, in an interview with D23, they asked him, in 1997, the auctioneer sequence in the Pirates attraction was changed so that the pirates pursued women holding pies. Later, they also added Jack Sparrow. Do you like the changes? He said, I like adding Jack. The pirates chasing the gals, nobody asked me, but my reaction was this. It's Pirates of the Caribbean, not Boy Scouts of the Caribbean.
Interesting. Yeah, now that we're on this, I do enjoy listening to, because I agree with every side in this thing about fans, most fans I should say. There's some crazy people out there. Most fans that are arguing about this, about where they like the status of Pirates of the Caribbean, I think it's all interesting. Personally, I don't know about you, Connor, I do like Jack Sparrow's edition. I think it kind of flows in nicely because he's like unobtrusive, kind of pops in and out. It makes sense the way that he's woven into the story, especially in Disneyland. But I don't mind making the ride, more age and time appropriate. but just make it make more sense. There's got to be a solution that you're not like, I mean, what in the world's happening now in Disneyland? It's like, or Disney World. It's like she's selling chickens to the pirates. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's like, okay, everyone stop looting. Everyone stop. We're gonna buy chickens from this lady.
Time out. Hold on. We got some chickens we have to sell.
We gotta buy them.
Hey, stop pillaging over there.
Yeah.
Yes, I know there's tens of thousands of dollars worth of rum. Put it down.
It's just like,
We have a chicken. Who wants a chicken for 1 cent?
clean it up, make it family friendly, but let's
But
let's
why
just make
that?
it make sense. Make it
Why
make
that?
sense, please.
2 scenes before, the mayor is waterboarded. You know?
Yeah.
And then the best part is the wife of the mayor yells from the top, "Don't be chicken, Maurice. Don't be chicken." And then they go and sell the chickens 2 stops down.
Okay.
I don't want to get into bestiality of the man sleeping with pigs, but there's a gentleman sleeping with pigs.
Yes, there is.
And yet the selling, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's oh well, maybe little girls can look up to the redheaded pirate. She's still a pirate.
Yeah.
You don't want to look up a murderer.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
and here's that.
Oh well, at least it's a woman murderer that she can look up to.
Connor, then make her a pirate. You know what I mean? It's just strange. It's like this woman is.
She is a pirate, isn't she?
I don't know. She's wearing an
I don't
awfully.
know what she
It's
is.
not like she doesn't fit the theme of all her other pirate friends. Did she get like the deluxe suite on the boat that they pillaged it? Or they rode in on? Because she's got an awfully clean dress. All her pirate friends are covered in blood and dirt and fish oil.
Did you fish oil? Well, that's high in antioxidants, so that's good. Did you see the rumor that they thought her face was taken from Jane in Tarzan from the Great Movie Ride?
No, that's funny. No, I didn't.
Looks identical. Looks absolutely identical. And that's actually true. They repurpose robots all the time.
All the time.
So there's going to be some stuff in Star Wars land, I bet you. But back to X.
Yeah, we should wrap up on X.
I think that this is kind of something that everyone can strive for. No matter what was thrown his way, he just tried to work as hard as humanly possible. And if there was a problem there, he solved it, and he did it with, a great level of creativity and professionalism. And when you hear other Imagineers talk about him, they always say, "Oh, X. Like, he was great. Everyone loved him. He seemed incredibly jovial."
Yep.
And to work on that line of working on great classics like Fantasia, Pinocchio, to developing things in television, to fighting a freaking war for the good guys, and then coming back and developing these incredible attractions that have impacted so many people's lives, Existencio, 100% a Disney legend.
Also, when you look at a picture of him, he just looks like a nice guy, doesn't he?
He just
yeah.
looks
You can just
happy.
look at him like, ooh,
Happy and nice.
That's a
Yeah.
nice guy. I think my lesson from studying up on X is that he was definitely, and I said this already a little bit, but there's a considerable amount of luck that goes into your life that spins your web that you don't know how your chips are going to fall. But that's not to say if you are truly talented and you truly care, someone like this, he deserves to be in the limelight that he is. And I think that that's something, if you've really got a talent or a passion for something, keep plucking away at it, because, I mean, look, the true talent will be discovered.
Luck is something that is thrown your way, but being successful is how you act upon that luck.
Correct.
He couldn't determine that Walt was going to give him all of these opportunities and stuff. Some people, when they would get those opportunities, would sit back on their heels, but he wouldn't. He would just dive right in, and that's why he was successful. So Existencio, our Disney Legend of the Month. Now it's time for our main segment. In 1999, Disney released a new technology that revolutionized the theme park going experience. The virtual queuing system known as Fastpass pegged the simple question, what if you could reserve your ride time? What came of that question was a tool that has now been implemented in almost every major theme park in some form or another. But in 2013, the Fastpass system Disney park fans had come to know and love would be changed forever. With the advent of My Magic Plus and My Disney Experience, Disney began to take a technology-first approach to much of the daily routines the average theme park guest would encounter. This meant giving guests the ability to book Fastpasses months in advance and change, edit, and adjust reservations on the fly from the convenience of their smartphone. Love it or hate it, Fastpass Plus is here to stay, and rather than complain, you should embrace this incredible tool and use it to its full potential. In this segment, Hank and I will be giving you tips, tricks, and tactics you can use to get the most out of Fastpass Plus. By the end of this, you'll be a pro when it comes to reserving rides, and you'll be leaving other guests in the dust when it comes to experiencing the attractions you want to experience the most. Hank, I think I already know the answer to this, but do you like or dislike Fastpass Plus?
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's great. I don't think I ever really had the period where I disliked it. I don't even think I went through that metamorphosis where I was like, I don't know if this will work. I'd be like, yep, got 3 rides, awesome. I was gonna ride them anyways. I was gonna wait in the line, or I was gonna try to get the ticket in the park anyways. This is better. It's on my phone now.
I think so much of what people don't like about it is that it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't like change for the most part. I think the more you can adapt to a change, whatever it may be, the greater you're going to be able to have success and things like that.
Sure.
I love the old system for sure, but I've grown to absolutely love the new system. I never really hated it. I wasn't upset either. I just was like, oh, well, it's something, I have to learn. But being the crazy Disney fan I was also excited to learn something new.
Yeah.
That incorporated Disney. But when we talk about the old system, what they refer to as legacy fast passes, those paper tickets, let's talk about the pros and cons that those had for a little bit. So pro, I think you could get more than 3, kind of.
If
right?
you wanted to run all over the park, right?
Right. So basically the way it worked was it was also easier to claim in the sense that, or to get, you'd go to the actual ride that you wanted to ride. With a fast pass, you'd put your theme park ticket in, and out would spit a paper ticket. Paper ticket would say, come back between this time and this time to ride, and then it would say below that, and you can get an extra fast pass at this time.
Yeah.
So you could potentially have, 3 or 4 fast passes in your pocket at once. It rarely happened, but I guess there was a greater likelihood to get a 4th fast pass for the day.
Sure.
And then also you could have multiple ones at once, basically meaning like you could have this one that you're riding at 4 o'clock and then this one that you're going to ride at 2 o'clock.
Refresh my memory. Could you select your time?
You could not.
I didn't think you could.
You would go up and there'd be whatever ride you would go to, there would be a bank of these kiosks that, like I said, you would stick your ticket in and it would pop out. And right above that little bank of kiosks, it would be a
this is the hour window.
Sign, and we're like, return times now at blank and blank.
Yep.
For the most part, it was once your fast pass is up, you were able to get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
But you would always have to check the bottom of the ticket, because like the more popular ones, you were able to get one at an earlier time.
Yeah, the last time, Connor, do you remember the last time you got a paper fast pass? I can think of mine pretty specifically. I'm lucky though, because I have a specific instance when it happened.
I believe it was 2012. Oh, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Though.
I got one, I believe it might have been it was either 2013 or 2014 in Disney's California Adventure.
Right. So they still have
Yeah, I went and got one.
paper fast pass. Well, they still have paper fast passes in Disneyland now.
Do they really? Didn't
Yeah.
they switch to Fastpass Plus in some aspects, or no?
So they have Max Pass.
That's
up
there you go. That's what I'm thinking
But
of.
what you do there is $10 a day per person, and it's only the right to reserve it from your phone, which is good. Everyone seems to love it, but it's not like you can't reserve in advance or stuff. It's still just day of.
Yeah. Well, so it was interesting though, because I mean, just I'm thinking about the last time I had it. This is an example of what the limitations of the paper system is. I didn't get into the park that day until 10 or 11. I was like, we gotta get out to Radiator Springs Racing. We gotta go get a fast pass, and we got fast passes at that point in the day, and it was like for 9:30 to 10:30 at night in that park, because you gotta act
which
quick.
I think brings up our cons of the Fastpass legacy system. If you didn't get there early enough, then they could get all booked up. I remember, when Toy Story Mania, Midway Mania first opened in 2008, 2009, 2010, the what our family's routine would be was to get there early in the morning. Everyone would hand me all of their theme park tickets, so I'd have my entire family's theme park tickets, and I'd basically run to Toy Story.
Nice.
Put it in the machine, and then spit it out. Because that was another con. You had to go to every single attraction in order to get it. You couldn't book it on the fly. There was no bank you could go to, I want this ticket here, even though it's all the way across the park. Nope. You had to go right to the attraction. And think about a park like Animal Kingdom, hoofing it from Expedition Everest over to Kilimanjaro Safaris. It's not an easy feat.
No.
It's quite far.
Yeah.
And then, let's say you were to get those paper tickets, and for whatever reason you were to misplace them.
Go on a water ride.
You're screwed. Go on a water ride. You're screwed. And then I think the final con for the last one was you didn't know what you were going to be able to get until you got there that day. Until you actually put it in the machine and it spit out. So those were the pros and cons of the old system, but we're well ahead of that. Hank, it's so hard to believe. We started at the top of the show about how it's crazy to believe you've been married for a year. It's crazy to believe that Fastpass Plus started in 2013.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it's been here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just because we're pros.
It's kind of it's like inseparable from the park experience. Now you just don't. This is the way that you should think about Fastpass, is that you just don't think about going to Disney World without I gotta book my rides.
Just like you have to book your dining reservations.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like you have to book your hotel reservations.
We're going on a boat tour in Chicago. We had to book that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't like that at all. I don't like booking tickets in advance.
What's this, Hamilton? I gotta book a seat.
I don't like that one bit. What's this reserving your seats at the movie theaters? I want to sit wherever I want to sit. I get there.
Just like the bus.
Just like the bus. You know what's great about the bus? It's fair game. Seats are fair game.
Just like an EasyJet flight.
That's our crotchety grandpa character.
He'll be back later.
Oh, he'll be back in many an episode. So now we dive into this idea of the planning phase, right? Fastpass, like we said, the legacy Fastpass system was you get there that day and hopefully you have a game plan, and that's when you're going to find out what Fastpasses you get. Well, now you do it in advance. And it's the 60 days out versus the 30 days out. So the 60 days out people are those who are on-site guests, meaning they're staying at a Disney hotel. They're able to book 60 days in advance of their vacation. Anyone else is able to book 30 days out, which begs the question, is staying at a non-Disney resort a deal breaker now?
I like to think that of this kind of being the cherry on top, or maybe even something less than that, like the sprinkles on top, because there's already so much incentive to stay on property that I think this is one of those things that it could be the case where it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, where you're like, oh, well, I'm definitely doing it now. It is not the differentiator, but at the point where you add up, and Connor, you and I could go on about this forever, but by the time you pay for your parking, Ubers, transport from the airport, yada, 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 when they go, oh, and by the way, you also get 60 days instead of 30, you're like, okay, God, just let me stay on property, please.
Just let me do it.
Yeah,
Let me do
I
it.
was going to stay anyways, so I'll take the 30 days.
Magical Express aside, incredible service, incredible hotels aside, like, yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's the sprinkles, the jimmies.
Yeah,
depending on what part of the country you're from. But this is a newer thing. If you're staying at the what they call the Disney Springs resorts, now you get on-site benefits.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah. They're expanding that too. They just announced that this past week.
It's going through 2019, which is pretty awesome. You can get some good rates, but I think what's very beneficial for people is it's places that people have points at.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's why people always like staying at Swan and Dolphin, because they had like Starwood points.
Yep.
Or they would get their Starwood points and things like that. So that's where it really comes in, and that's why, Disney brings those people in, because they want those people who want to stay close to the action, but they want to use their points and things like that.
Yeah, or, suck them into your park for a couple days if you're down there for business.
Exactly. I used to have people ask me that question when I worked at the hotel. Are you guys affiliated with Marriott? We are most definitely not.
No.
We are Disney's Yacht and Beach Club Resort.
No, we're not.
No, we are not. A couple things to keep in mind in the planning process is if you are staying on property, make sure you have a My Disney Experience account, of course. Make sure you link your reservation to that. So if you call up Disney and you say, hey, I'd like to book a hotel room, they're going to give you a reservation ID. You have to go into My Disney Experience, click on the My Reservation tab, and type that a confirmation code into a hotel reservation so that it's linked to your account, so that you can make Fastpass Plus, and also be sure that you have valid theme park admission linked to your account as well. Because they won't give you 60 days out if there's no hotel on your account, and they won't give you 60 days out if there's no tickets on your account.
So I actually, Connor, I played around with this last time. I got some deeper insights for us, because I was playing around with booking, because you can book Disney Resort properties on through third-party websites like Expedia, which is what I was trying to do, and weighing my other options, because Aaron and I were just staying for a day, so we were looking at different hotels and such. I originally booked 60 days out through a Disney resort. We were going to stay at the Pop Century, which is where we ended up staying. But to get our fast passes, booked our fast passes, and then as the days approached, rates started to drop like all over the place in Florida. I'm like, oh shoot, would we want to stay off property now that I have our fast passes? Would I want to switch to a Disney resort and hang on to our tickets, that type of thing? So I called and talked to a Disney rep, and they were able to tell me that, first of all, within 72 hours, you will lose your fast passes if you unlink your reservation. So don't ever do that.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll lose.
No.
The other thing is that they would resync to a different reservation if you were to change hotels. Obviously within the Disney experience, but also through a third-party website. So I thought that was pretty cool that it was able to locate my reservation through Expedia, get that all linked up, and then I was able to cancel my Disney hotel at no extra charge, since there's free cancellation.
I think that's just a great tip. Always be looking.
Yeah, right up until the last minute. You won't lose your fast passes.
You can always rebook. You can always save money.
Yeah.
I will say a word of caution that I've shared with Hank before. When you are booking on those external sites like an Expedia or Hotels.com, it's going to tell you are booking a king room at Walt Disney World, or you're booking 2 queens rooms at Walt Disney World. That is not the case.
No,
That's not
sir.
how Disney's system works. They're basically just lying to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to put a note in your reservation saying they'd like a king bed. king beds are very hard to come by in Disney because it's a family place.
Yep.
So they want to do 2 queen beds, but just keep that in mind. And also, there's no insurance, basically. Not like insurance,
Yeah.
but when booking through a third-party site, if something goes wrong, they're probably not going to help you out.
Yeah, there's like a special note where I was actually talking to a rep in Disney World. Very, very nice. They're not going to not treat you well because you book through a third-party site. But they were
Because
like,
at the end of the day, you're still staying with them.
exactly. But they were like, it's fun because I was having a nice back and forth with them. They're like, it's funny. There's actually not a space for me to write in comments because you booked through a third-party site. Like I'm looking at the screen and I can't write extra stuff about your room. Like that won't open up until you're within like 24 hours of your reservation. Like that is pretty
Sir,
funny.
I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know, how do you manage... Does Erin, your wife, have her own account, like linked up to her own email?
For my Disney experience?
Yeah.
I believe she does, but I'm logged. My account is logged into her. I basically manage her as my child account under mine.
So,
like,
this is...
both of our accounts are just both of my Disney Experience app after my phone runs out of battery in the park.
Yes. So if you... this is a good tip, just if you know your spouse or your children or your friend has no need for a My Disney Experience account, they don't need to set one up, you can just quote unquote manage their account, meaning they don't need an email link to it. And this can really help in you just owning the process. Like, you don't need them to go on to add things to their account. It's just an easier way for you to be in complete control of your party and things like that.
Yep. Very useful for family planning. You're always going to be able to book your kids' rides. There's no fear of your son didn't set up the app in time or logged out and changed his password. It's like, nope, you can always access that.
And additionally, you can also do that for adults as well.
Yep. And you'll always be able to see your past guests unless they take you off. So if you've got any arch enemies out there that you once went to Disney World with.
Yeah, that's right. So when can you start booking? So this is actually a couple things that I learned for the first time today. So like we said, if you're staying on property, 60 days out. All booking starts at 7 a.m. Eastern. So whether you're booking 60 days in advance or 30 days in advance, it starts at 7 a.m. Eastern. I remember I was in California last year, and I woke up at 4 so I could book my family's Fastpasses for 2 months later. So if you're staying on property at a Disney hotel, you can book for the length of your stay starting on the first day. So let's say your trip starts on July 1st. Well, then on May 2nd, which I think is 60 days out, you can start booking those fast passes for days 1 all the way through 14.
The longer you stay, the bigger advantage you got.
The bigger advantage you have. If you're an annual pass holder, right, but you're not staying on property, maybe you're just in the Florida area or you're staying off property, you can book 30 days out, but up for 7 days. So if you're going to want to go to the parks July 1st, you can start booking on June 1st, and on June 1st you can book days July 1, 2, 3 through 4, blah, 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 blah. If you only have regular admission, so you only have a regular 2-day park hopper, and you're staying off property, you can book 30 days out, but you can only book 1 day at a time.
Interesting.
Meaning, if you're staying July 1st and July 2nd, you're going to the parks, then on June 1st, you wake up, you book July 1st. On June 2nd, you wake up and you book July 2nd. So you have to do that on every single day, which that can be incredibly burdensome. I would be so annoyed by that.
Every day at 7 a.m.
Every day at 7 a.m. Gotta remember.
That sounds terrible, actually. I didn't know that was the case.
No, I thought they would have been like, okay, you can book it for 5 days, but
Yeah.
hey, that's another great reason to be a pass holder,
Yeah.
So that actually brings us to our first big tip. Because you can book for the length of your stay if you're staying at a resort on Disney property, if a ride isn't available at the beginning of your trip, try a later date and see if it's available. So this idea is, think about it like your start of your vacation is probably going to be the end of a lot of other people's vacations. So they're already going to be having those days booked out, you know?
Yep.
So I always tend to do, like, let's say I want to ride Flight of Passage. I'll try to do my Animal Kingdom day later on in my vacation because I have a greater likelihood of getting that on that day.
Very smart.
Average stay at Disney was probably like 4 days, 5 nights kind of thing.
Yep.
So the further out you can go, you can do that. So popular attractions, try and get towards the end of your vacation.
And plus it builds up that way too. And I found myself explaining this to someone the other day, and Connor, I don't know if you experienced this too when we unveiled Disney World to some of our new friends the last time we went too. But when you save those bigger rides for later in the trip, it has a bigger impact. So it's a double whammy. For example, and this is where I'm getting into specifics, I feel like people that go on Flight of Passage first and then ride Soarin' really miss out on the fun that Soarin' is.
Let's just name names. Joseph Molsky, your brother,
Didn't like Soarin'.
did not like Soarin'. It was almost like we ruined it because we took him on the greatest ride in Disney
Yeah, right.
in Flight of Passage first.
Yeah, we shouldn't have took him skydiving before we went in the kiddie pool.
We set the bar way too high.
Yeah.
Way too high. I still don't know how I got a Fastpass for that early on, for how many people we have.
Oh, I know.
But I did. So when you're booking all of these things, remember, it's in advance, whether it's 60, 30, 1 day in advance, 2 days in advance. You can only do one park per day in advance. So if you're going on July 1st, on June 1st you wake up, the ones you can book for July 1st are only at one park.
Yeah, which honestly it feels annoying, but man, I was thinking about this earlier today. It would be pandemonium if you were allowed to do different parks, because you could just be like, all right, every morning I'm going to start off my day with Flight of Passage, and then I'll just book two for...
Oh my God.
I'll
That's
just
such
book
a good
two for
point.
my other park that day. Flight of Passage, though, every morning, 8 a.m.
That's such a good point. Because I was going to be like, oh, what do I want to happen? I want to be able to go to multiple parks and book at multiple parks. I don't think I want that.
No, yeah, I'm going on
I
test track every evening, Flight of Passage every morning, and then I'll use one for the park that I go to that day.
Oh God, just thinking of that makes my head hurt for the computer system.
Yeah.
Like, good God. And then on top of that, in advance, you can only book 3 Fastpasses. You can't book any more. You can book less, but we don't recommend that.
And we're not even going to go into detail about Disney Club members because they can book more, but
What are you talking about?
you can book extra fast passes if you're staying in a Disney Club room for an additional fee.
Oh, a club level.
Yes,
Yes.
club level.
Yeah. So the deluxe resorts have, I thought you were talking about vacation club. The deluxe resorts have club level. You pay an extra price. You have a lounge. You have, the rooms are pretty much exactly the same. It's just that you have a lounge, a private lounge. There's like breakfast, drinks, wine, beer. And then, yeah, on top of that, you can buy extra fast passes if you choose to. That was a recent development. Who knows if that's going to expand?
Yeah.
Probably it will expand, but I don't think it will impact anyone's stay as much as others think, because in the grand scheme of things, the amount of people that are staying on property at a Disney resort, it pales in comparison to people that aren't, that are going into the parks every day.
Yep.
It's actually pretty incredible. But also keep in mind when you're booking those fast passes, there are tiered parks. What do tiered parks mean? It means that of the 3 you can book in advance, you can only book 1 from tier 1 and then 2 from tier 2. The tiered parks are every park but Magic Kingdom. So as an example, if I was going to go to Hollywood Studios, I can only select one attraction from Tier 1, and I can select 2 attractions from Tier 2. Now, Toy Story Land has really helped the cause here because Tier 1 is Alien Swirling Saucers, Slinky Dog Dash, and Toy Story Mania. So I can only select one of those as an advanced Fastpass. And then I can select 2 from Tier 2. And in Tier 2, you have Beauty and the Beast, Fantasmic, Rock and Roller Coaster, Disney Junior, Frozen Sing-Along, Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, Muppet Vision 3D, Star Tours, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Voyage of the Little Mermaid. This is awesome. I haven't been since they opened up Toy Story Land, Hank. You have. But getting to have a Fastpass for now Twilight Zone and Rock and Roller Coaster, because they bumped Rock and Roller Coaster down to Tier 2, that's pretty awesome. And they bumped that one down.
My only thoughts on Hollywood Studios right now is, Connor, do you think Alien Swirling Saucers is the least Fastpass ride in all of Disney World, considering the tier that it's in? Because if you can only pick one ride, it has got to be the least popular ride in a single tiered area right now. I gotta think.
I would say it's Navi River Journey.
Ooh, really? But that's still cool though.
Actually, no. Yeah, you're right. Is there a height restriction on Swirling
No,
Saucers?
sir. Because if you ride with an adult, I think you get a free pass.
Yeah, then you're probably right. Alien Swirling Saucers is probably...
Because you are going to take Slinky Dog Dash or Midway Mania if you didn't get that. That's the other thing, too, because you got the backup plan, too. Like, oh, well, at least I'll get this one.
Let's also be cognizant of what's going to happen when some other rides in Galaxy's Edge open up.
Whew, that might be a 3-tiered park.
That might be... Ooh, that's actually interesting. I wonder if how that'll work.
I don't know.
Even in Epcot. So Epcot's kind of the same way. Tier 1, Frozen Ever After, Illuminations, Soarin', Test Track. That one's the most crushing of them all. Because you have Frozen, you have to pick between Frozen, Soarin', or Test Track.
Yeah.
Those are some big hitters, especially in the bottom tier. Tier 2, you have Pixar Short Film Festival, Journey into Imagination, Living with the Land, Epcot Character Spot, Mission Space, Spaceship Earth, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, Turtle Talk with Crush. Picking 2 there is always a challenge for me because I find that the ones I'm fast passing in Tier 2, I can pretty much walk on whenever I want as well.
Yep. They know it. They know it in that park.
Animal Kingdom kind of the same way. Tier 1, you have the 2 Avatar rides, Avatar Flight of Passage, Navi River Journey. Tier 2, a lot of great options here though. Dinosaur, Expedition Everest, Kilimanjaro Safaris, Kali River Rapid, Finding Nemo the Musical, Festival of Lion King, Tough to Be a Bug, Primeval World, Rivers of Light, Up, A Great Bird Adventure.
Yep.
So those tiers are tricky. Basically what you want to do is kind of think of what is your must ride, right, in Tier 1. It's going to be hard to pick, but you have to say, okay, what do we really want to ride? What do we really want to ride? And then what you have to do is come up with your top 3 that you're allowed to do for Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and DAC, Disney's Animal Kingdom. Magic Kingdom, by the way, is free for all. You can book any 3 as long as they're available, whatever you want, just because there's so many attractions there.
Yeah.
But if you come up with a game plan of the top 3 that you want to do and that you're able to do, then when you go to book it at 7 in the morning on your day, you're going to have a much easier time. You want to try and go quick, just because not like anything's going to get booked up immediately. There's a good chance of that. You just want to be able to go when it's time to go. Which brings you to when you're actually in the parks. So that means you have all your fast passes. You can see it in My Disney Experience, whether it's on desktop or on mobile. When you finally book them and you see them, then you're going to realize, okay, I have this one at this time, but I don't have a fast pass for this. So if we use an example, let's say we decided, all right, I got a fast pass for Frozen Ever After in Epcot.
What a mistake.
And then what a mistake. And then I got a fast pass for Living with the Land and
Not a
Spaceship
mistake.
Earth.
Not a
Not a
mistake.
mistake.
Yeah.
Not a mistake. But I also really want to ride Soarin' and Test Track, but I couldn't because they're both in Tier 1, and I picked Frozen Ever After.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we are saying as another tip is pair Fastpass with Rope Drop. Rope Drop, you can knock out some incredible rides at super low wait times. You'll have to get up early, but it'll pay off dividends because you'll be able to ride all these great rides at short waits.
Yeah, Connor, for the folks at home that might not be familiar with the term rope drop, what does that originate from?
It originates from a rope dropping.
Yeah, there you go.
You idiot. No, so rope drop basically means the exact time that the park opens. And back in the day, they actually had a rope to keep people out. And when the park opened, they would drop the rope and people would, step over it and walk into the park. Whether it actually, dropped or whatever. That's what they meant. Nowadays, there's still ropes involved, more of a pulled back rope people are led on. But if you get there early enough, capacity hasn't gone up, so you can basically just walk onto a lot of these big time rides.
Yep.
I always try to tell people, listen, get up early, take advantage of that, get to the park 30 minutes before it opens. They'll probably let you in a few minutes before. You'll be able to ride some big time rides, and then you have those fast passes for those other big time rides in your back pocket that you can kind of tandem,
Yes.
go 1-for-1 with.
The other thing, Connor, I wanted to ask you about for the viewers at home, what's this e-ticket term as well?
Ooh.
Where did that originate from? There's a little bit of a story behind that one.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You keep on saying e-ticket like it's a big important ride.
It is. So, in the Disney fan community, so e-ticket attractions are the Mac Daddy attractions, the most popular attractions. Magic Kingdom, it would be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, the Avatar rides, Tower of Terror, now the Toy Story Land rides, Epcot, Frozen, Soarin', things like that. The reason they're called e-ticket attractions is because when you used to go to Disneyland and Disney World back in the 70s and the 50s for Disneyland, your admission would get you a ticket book. What this ticket book was several tickets in like a what do you call those things where perforated? They had perforated edges. So you'd rip the tickets out of the books and you'd get a ticket for an A attraction, a B attraction, a C, D, and an E. And on the tickets themselves listed, you can use this ticket at any of these rides. You can use this ticket at any of these rides. My dad always talked about how he would go to Disneyland when he was like in college and stuff, and he was like, yeah, by the end of the day, everyone in your group has like 9 A-ticket attractions, and you're like, does anyone want to trade 9 A-ticket attractions for like 1 E-ticket? But the A-ticket attractions would be things like, to put it in today's terms, the carousel, the Main Street vehicles were an A attraction. B attractions a little better, but not until you start to get to D and E attractions where you ride in things like in Disneyland, the Matterhorn, in Disney World, Space Mountain. I think the dark rides like Pirates and Haunted Mansion.
I think Pirates was an E for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they would fluctuate. Anytime a new ride opened, it would become an E, and then it might shift over to a D and stuff like that. But those ticket books have... Oh, and by the way, you couldn't buy another ticket book. Like, if that was your ticket book and you were done for the day.
Wow.
I'm sure there were, ways to buy extra ones, but pretty much with your admission, you get this ticket book. Once your tickets are done, go enjoy something else. Go in the shops or something like that. But even with those gone, and they've been gone for decades now, the name still sticks. E-ticket attractions, meaning big attractions, fast, exhilarating, incredible.
I do love that nomenclature that's stuck around. It's fun. It's a nice little tribute to Disney history that people just continue to carry on.
Rope drop and e-ticket. And some people just say it without it, knowing the origin stories of them.
The more you know.
The more you know. WDW Opinion. We care. But getting back to when you should book these things, I always try to book those fast passes early in the day. Not right at rope drop, but maybe, within an hour or two of park opening. I think if you get there at park opening, you can knock out a lot of rides. But the reasoning behind this is if you schedule those fast passes for early in the morning, you'll be able to get another one.
Yep.
So while you can book 3 in advance, once those 3 are up, meaning once your last one that you have booked is up, then and only then can you book a 4th. Then you use the 4th, and then you book a 5th.
Yeah.
Then you use the 5th, and so on, and so on, and so on.
And
So the reason... Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I totally agree. It's nice having a way to whisk through the parks in the morning, especially if you're staying on property and you want to spend time around the rest of the resort. You're not limiting yourself to one park. It's really great to be able to move quickly through a park. But just to offer up, another side too, is that I definitely think that there's a lot of merit if you watch the times a day where it's like, oh man, I do want to be in the park at this time of day because I've got, Chef Mickey's plan in the morning, or I got something else going on, or you're crazy and you want to go to all 4 parks in a day. We wanted to have our fast passes for right between noon to 4 o'clock, because that's when the parks are just going to be slammed. So if you're going to be all day in the parks and you know that you're not going back to your home resort, or you're not going to be just zipping around, it might make sense to just know that I want to ride the biggest rides that are going to have the longest wait. I want to walk past the most people and book my rides right in the middle of the afternoon. That's the way to really cheat it too, like really beat the people that are waiting like 95 minutes to ride Space Mountain at noon.
Hey, ABA, always be adjusting.
Yeah.
Right? There's no perfect plan.
Yeah.
What I found works perfect for me. If you're doing what Hank's talking about, maybe you want to hit a park really early in the morning, knock out a bunch of rides, and then you have your fast passes for later in the day at another park. That's also an incredible way to hit some great rides. Really what it comes down to is what you want to ride and what you, quote unquote, need to ride.
Yeah, and what you want to do in the rest of the park and the whole world,
With the fast passes that you're given at a place like Hollywood Studios, now you can knock out a lot of stuff with those 3 fast passes, with,
Yep.
and not riding anything else even. But if you do want to try and get a 4th one, I think then
you got to go morning, right?
Then that's when it plays into your favor of booking in the early morning those fast passes, using them, and then trying to get a 4th,
right,
and then possibly a 5th and things like that. Because fast pass does book up.
Yep.
There's certain slots. They're only available to X amount of people. That's to keep wait times down for everyone else, and to ensure that you, as a fast pass holder, have a short wait as well. So, yes, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train will run out of fast passes. Flight of Passage will run out of fast passes, etc., etc.
Yep.
So, Hank, I don't think you're familiar with this tip, but it's great for families with small children, and it's combining
I'm familiar.
Pass, are you? With Rider Switch.
Yeah, man, this is jealousy.
So, Rider Switch is only available at rides that have a height restriction. So rides like It's a Small World, Peter Pan, anyone and everyone can go on those. Those don't have rider switches, right? Rides like Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Flight of Passage, Expedition Everest, Test Track, these rides all have height restrictions. Because of that, what you're able to do is mom can take Junior and take them waiting in line and say, my husband is waiting with the baby, can we have a rider switch? You get a rider switch, you go all the way up to the front of the line. Once you wait in line, you get to the ride, and then the cast member will take your card that they give you at the front and exchange it for a paper Fastpass, which you'll be able to go back out, give it to your husband and Junior can now ride as you watch the child.
And that's a Fastpass that they get from the...
That's a Fastpass.
Yep.
Then you
the second
go
rider
back.
automatically gets a Fastpass regardless of if you just waited via Fastpass or regular queue. Correct.
Yes. So the reasoning behind it is they want you to be able to experience the ride, but they don't want to have to make you wait in it again.
Right.
In the long
And they
run.
don't-
It's a courtesy. It's a total courtesy.
They have these at Kings Island. They don't want to have the child penalty box where they just stuff all the kids in there while mom and dad ride the ride. See ya.
It's actually when I was working at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you weren't even allowed to wait in line if you were under the height restriction.
Connor, are these relatively new? How long has Rider Switch been around for? Because I swear,
Ever since I can remember.
oh, okay, I can't remember because I feel like doesn't it look like there's one of those child penalty boxes down in the Big Thunder Mountain Railway? I always see those boxes over there where people are waiting. It's like the penalty box for the people.
I got some bad news for you.
Yeah.
Those are for wheelchairs.
Yeah, I know, but they make them wait in that box.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah,
Like the penalty box. Yeah.
That's a lot of times when guests in wheelchairs have wheelchair entrances, and that's a lot of retrofitted rides. So like
got it.
non-ADA compliant rides.
So they got to
like
do that to be safe, so the wheelchair doesn't roll into the track area.
Well, pre 1990, all those rides that were built weren't constructed being ADA compliant, so they had to retrofit them, and it's usually sending them through the exit line and having them wait in a certain location. But what brings us to our tip is you can combine Fastpass with Rider Switch on these big rides. So think of this scenario. Meaning it really only works if you have like 3 kids that you can wait for, or like 3 adults and 1 adult doesn't want to ride. But if mom books a Fastpass for Big Thunder with Junior, and then you book Junior a Fastpass at Splash Mountain, and Dad books a Fastpass at Splash Mountain, then you can theoretically ride those 2 rides with a Rider Switch, because the Rider Switch gets you the rider plus 1 person. They say plus 1. It's 2. It's good for 3 people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's where you're able to factor it in. It's very tricky. It's a lot of nuances and things like that. But if you can get it right, if you can make it work, you can effectively double your ride time.
That's
because
amazing.
you're basically splitting your fast passes in half. Mom gets these fast passes, Dad gets these. Your kids are split in half.
Great, I'll just have 3
and
kids then.
Yeah,
That's nothing.
Perfect. Problem solved.
Yeah, nothing.
But then once the kid gets tall enough,
Yeah, that's great. It's going to make Disney World so easy to have 3 kids.
Oh, nothing else is easier than Disney World with 3 kids.
Yeah, I hear that's pretty easy, taking 3 kids to Disney World all day.
Oh, playing zone defense at Disney World? It's great. Yeah. Stroller parking, it's a breeze. There's ample stroller parking, especially in
Fantasyland.
There's no bottlenecks or anything.
No.
Yeah, so that one, it's a good tip. It's a little harder, especially if it's your first go-around with FastPass Plus. But I don't think I did a great job of explaining it. So if you're curious, more curious about how that works, combining FastPass with Rider Switch, just email me, Connor, CONOR, at WDWopinion.com, and I can lay it out a little bit better for you.
And then I'll talk to you for an hour about it.
I'll talk to you an hour before it. We'll schedule a Skype call. I'll become your new best friend.
It'll cost only a low price of $200.
$200. But I think one other tip I have is, let's take Epcot for example. Let's say you only want to book 1 ride, and it's, 1 in Tier 1, and you don't want to book any of the 2 Tier 1s. Well, book the 2 Tier 1s for early in the day, even if you know you're not going to go on them. Reason being, so you can book a 4th FastPass. And those 4th FastPasses that you book, once your first 3 are up, it's non-tier based. So as long as there's availability, you can book in any of those tiers. Mm-hmm. So I try to do book a super early morning Spaceship Earth, and like a Living with the Land or a Mission Space, ones that I know I won't use because I'll just be able to walk on in general.
Yeah.
Then I'll book like a afternoon Soarin'. So when I get there, I hit Soarin' first, and then I can, see if there's like a test track or a Frozen Ever After available for later in the day. So that's always a good tip. Even if you don't want to book 3, be sure to book 3 so that you can have the opportunity to get a 4th. Hank, have any special tips? I know you just been from going 4 parks in one day, so you must have been.
I peppered my knowledge in there. No, I did like having those. It felt great to have. That was one of the very first times I had done Fastpass Plus exclusively during peak hours. Like, I did them intentionally all between 12 and 3 because I knew that if we were going to be moving quick that day, because we had originally planned for 3 parks, I knew that we were going to need to fast pass it through like the brutal time of day, or else we were going to be waiting in some tough lines. I mean, we still waited 45 minutes for Pirates and felt fine about it because then, after that we went Splash, Big Thunder, Space. So it was
right, and I think that's why Fastpass is so great, because when you do wait in line, you feel more comfortable waiting in line, because it's not 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes, 5, 10, 5, something like that.
Yep. I playing it on the fly. That's always the way to do it. You always got to be checking. You always got to be refreshing the app. You never know.
You never know what's going to occur. The other tip I'll give is, if you have a big party, even if you only have 2 people, consider maybe splitting your party up. If you all have My Disney Experience accounts and you all have access to the app, it's a lot easier to get one fast pass for one person than it is to get 3, 4, 5 fast passes for people all at the same time. And what you're able to do is kind of overlap. So if you put in all 5 people, the system is only going to search for fast passes where they have an hour window, like 8 to 9, where all 5 people can ride. If Hank and I each book at the same time, well, maybe the system finds a fast pass from 8:10 to 9:10, and then they find Hank one from 8:30 to 9:30, and because our fast passes overlap from 8:30 to 9:10, then we can ride together even though our fast passes are different. But with all that being said, it's always about double checking. Hop in a line, always refresh, but more so, like anything in life, it's about making Fastpass second nature. You should just go to it. You should just start learning. The only way you're going to learn is by participating. And the more you do, the better you get.
Just go to Disney World all the time, and then you turn into a crazy Disney person like us.
Like us, who have mastered Fastpasses and love them. Love them, love them, love them.
Yeah, how could you not?
How could you not? Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed listening to this Fastpass Plus conversation. It's very cool. It's only going to get better, especially as you start going more and more. You're going to become better at it. It's going to become more fun. But if you enjoyed the show, be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with someone you think might enjoy it, might enjoy our fun facts. If you like what you heard today, then you've been listening to the WDW Opinion podcast. If by chance you didn't like what you heard, then you've been listening to Reply All. For Hank, I'm Connor. We'll see you real soon.